Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Now the layoffs keep piling on this week. After the huge layoffs that we had with Microsoft this week, they're still laying people off. I think it was the Supermassive Games layoff. What I wanted to talk about today was what I think is the future of the industry. Because what I think the future of the industry is not a very popular opinion, but given the circumstances that I keep seeing, I think it's really what's going to happen. So today I have a different visual for you guys. It's not my face, it's me working on the character. If you follow the channel, you know that I've been picking up character art lately and trying to refresh my skills with this lady that you're seeing on screen. Do you want to see more of that? I don't know if there's an audience on my channel for that kind of content, but if you want to see more character building stuff, just let me know in the comment section down below. So let's get started. If you watch my video on if AI is destroying game developers' job, you'll remember that I mentioned there's a cycle. There's a cycle of hiring and not firing, but laying off people because the project ended. You no longer need as many developers to be on site unless you're making a lot of DLC or you've already been greenlit for a sequel or another project that was in the works by your studio. But usually that is how it goes. Pre-production, production, a lot of people get hired, then becomes support or DLC, and a lot of people or some people get laid off. Now, these past layoffs have been incredible compared to anything that has happened before. In the past 3 years, have been laying off a ton of people. And I don't think that's sustainable. Not for the health in the industry, not for the health of the company, and not for the health of the individuals that are getting laid off every time. Because what happens is you get a job with a studio, and then usually you move there because studios are, for the most part, in like cities that are very expensive, so people don't tend to like be next to the studio. So usually you move where the studio is, and then after you spend all this time and money moving your whole life, and you've probably lived there for 5 years, they tell you, hey, there's no longer a job for you. So you probably have to move back to where you started because, like I said, these studios are located in very expensive cities. And for the most part, people cannot remain that. Not to speak of the debacle that this can be for people that are on a visa. It's horrible. I think what the industry is going to move on to is going to more contract work. So studios nowadays do hire a lot of contractors, a lot of freelancers, and also outsourcing studios. A lot of big studios nowadays, I know a lot of people don't know, but there's a ton of work for video games that's being done by outsourcing studios. Now, I think in a not so far future, most of game development is going to be done via freelance because, like I mentioned in the beginning, the cycle of hiring and laying off is not healthy for game developers. Now, a lot of people would say, well, freelancing is not a stable job. That isn't healthy for developers either. But here's the thing: when you are a contractor, you know when your job is going to end. When you're hired as a salary, usually, sometimes you do, but usually you don't expect to be laid off. Again, that is psychologically, that creates a different perception from the person that is working at that studio. Because if, for instance, when I was in the industry, I worked only as freelance. I've never worked a salary job. That has to do with the way that I was taught. The person who mentored me, he was also a freelancer, and he's still a freelancer. He did a lot of jobs for Hollywood, big movies, and then he just kept doing stuff for production as a freelancer. And I've always been a freelancer. It's just nowadays that my day job it's like being a full-time employee, not a freelancer or a contractor. We'll talk about that in another video. But what I mean is I've experienced what freelancing is, and the fact that you know when your job is going to end, it's very different than the fact that, hey, I have this job that is, I'm a full-time employee as this company, and then all of a sudden you have the rug pulled from you. Also, a lot of contracting jobs are offsite. Like most of the contracting jobs that I worked were remote, and most of the contracting works for video games are usually remote. So that means that the person, it's not moving their whole life to the studio. There are also positions where you are a full-time employee and you still work remote, but those are fewer and fewer with each passing day. Another reason that I have to think this is because we already have an entertainment industry that works this way, and people seem to be fine with it. And that is the film industry. I've done work for VFX, for commercials, for music videos, and I've talked to the people working there, and they are contract works for the most part. There's a lot of contractors working in the industry, and that is how the industry has worked for many, many decades. And again, people seem to be fine with it. The difference is with video games, it seems like video games were growing so fast that studios just were hiring and hiring and hiring. People thought this was going to be like a tech job forever, and even some tech jobs are going away. And I know a lot of people disagree with this, so let me know what you think about that down below. Now, if you are an aspiring game developer, or if you want to get into video games, or if you're already looking for a job in video games, should you give up? Well, if you watch my other video, you probably already know my answer. My answer is absolutely not. You should not give up if this is what you want to do for a living. It's just not going to be a job where you can just sit down and you'll be at the same company forever. It's probably going to be, you jumping. It's just another layer to the job, having to jump from one job to the other. But you'll still get to work with the things that you love. You can still make a living and make a life from that. Like I said, a lot of people in Hollywood do it, and I don't see why people in game developers cannot do it. The one caveat that some people would say, and I haven't reviewed game developer salary lately because, again, my day job, even though I'm still a 3D artist, I haven't worked in the industry in a little bit. The salaries for contracting in Hollywood, at least the ones that I've experienced, are insane. But yeah, there's still an opportunity. There's an industry that works like that. I don't think it's sustainable, this hiring and firing, hiring and firing all the time. Like it has already happened. For instance, some of the artists that I look up to, they have left the industry and they have opened their own like storefronts for tutorials. And let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you see for the future of game development? Also, let me know if you want me to post more tutorials about character work and all that. Thank you so much for listening all the way to this point, and I'll see you in the next one.